Oh,
Nice to be outside.
it is nice to be outside. We have flowers. JoJo's flowers. Flowers by Joe. For a change, I actually have a particular thing I want to talk about.
A subject?
A subject.
Okay.
It's under living in interesting times, kind of in that ballpark. There's been some interesting things going on. COVID-19 is living in interesting times. Lately, I've been seeing all kinds of stuff about the Ottawa live theater community. There's some interesting things going on there. And then in my own life, I got my own interesting thing. I've got a Canadian human rights application that's being starting to go through the process, and I bumped into a weird thing with the mediator. So I told the mediator I have a health concern that will make this process difficult, and I requested accommodation. And the mediator's response is kind of like I'm inconveniencing the mediator because I've made this request, and I'm kind of puzzled. Like, how can someone be a mediator for the Canadian Human Rights Commission and behave like somebody coming forward with a concern and having a condition that needs to be accounted for, accommodated? How can they behave like I'm inconveniencing them?
I don't know. I thought it was just more detail. Because of COVID, there was going to be, the first meeting was going to be Zoom, and the two perpetrators and their lawyers, there'd be three, and the mediator and Alan were going to be on the Zoom call. And Alan said, I don't really want to be in a Zoom. I don't want to see them.
I don't want to see them. Don't want to hear them.
And
because they got a lawyer, I'll talk to their lawyer.
Yeah. And she said, well, that's not very convenient to have you off in one Zoom meeting and them off in another Zoom meeting. I'm thinking, but you've already told her.
Why?
Yeah, why?
Yeah.
The mediator, not convenient
the
for
mediator
her.
knows everything that transpired that had me submit this application, yet they're interacting with me like I should be fine with all that stuff. That stuff shouldn't bother me, and I should be able to just communicate with the people who
abused you,
essentially abused me. And the weird part was, I even told the mediator when I got the email saying these are the people who will be in attendance, the lawyer and the two people, and I said I almost threw up when I read that. So I don't know. I said, okay, so here I know I have a problem because I almost threw up when I read the notification that I would be in this, because I didn't have any reason to expect these two people to actually be there.
Yeah.
One of them in particular had cut off communication with me when I was trying to resolve the original problem.
Yeah.
So I didn't expect that person to be there. And then the other person, who I had informed that I, had a serious problem with what was going on and explained why, they didn't do anything about it. They said, oh, so sad, too bad, basically. So I didn't expect them to be there. So now I have to go and talk to somebody at the Canadian Human Rights Commission about how this mediator has handled things, because it doesn't seem right. So now I'm going to have to put a complaint on top of my complaint.
Oh, maybe it's just a query. So she decided, because Alan was not being cooperative, or because he had concerns about the Zoom meeting, which would make things easier for her, she's decided to skip that step and go straight to investigation, which doesn't give you as much room to discuss, maneuver.
Well, I was going to use the mediation meeting as a kind of a one-stop shop to solve a bunch of issues, because there are 6 or more different paths I could have taken.
Yeah.
Because the situation was a breach of how would you say
multiple,
that? There's a bunch of entities, like, say, groups that this kind of overlaps. Complaints could go to 6 different groups.
They would want to know. 6 different groups would want to
So I thought I'll just handle it all in one place. And if it's not handled properly, then I'll go to the other groups.
Yeah.
Now it's like I'm essentially being pushed into, okay, go to the other groups. So I could.
Well, she's also made it more expensive for the commission. Because if everything's resolved at the first level, you don't have to pay the investigators, right?
That's right. So it's just weird. So I know and I've talked to a lot of people, they get into situations that are similar to what I was in, and some people just choose to walk away. I don't like walking away because that means the perpetrators either A, don't realize they're really doing anything they shouldn't do, and B, if they don't realize it, they'll continue to do it, probably to others. And in this particular context, I know there are other people who have difficulties and challenges, not the same exactly as mine, some of them might be, but similar challenges that would have this kind of situation be a problem. And I have talked to others who've pointed out that they've experienced similar problems, but they don't want to do anything about it. So I kind of took it upon myself, because that's the kind of guy I am, to address it formally. And now it's like I'm now into a whole new thing, and it's upset me, and it's affecting my sleep, and I don't want to go walking, and I just want to sit and play my stupid video game that lets me kill zombies. Anyway, that's...
Took him a while to figure out why he lost his get up and go.
Yeah. And it's funny how that happens. Like, he's like, gee, every day for the last month or whatever, it's been get up and go walking. And then the last couple of days, it's been like, I don't want to go. And
he was kind of excited that Charlotte was coming yesterday, and then he didn't sleep well, and he visited for a little while, and then he had to crash and missed Charlotte's visit.
I only got a little bit of visit with Charlotte. Anyway, so it's like, it's interesting to notice, though, that I found out this morning when I woke up is, I know what's bugging me. I know what's going on, because the first thing in my mind this morning when I woke up was, where did my mind go? My mind went to this messy situation where the mediator, who is supposed to know how things should go and is supposed to understand things like accommodation and expect them and anticipate them and
help you.
Help the... I mean, people who write... There's a kind of a triage level. When you submit an application, they go and, okay, this looks like this meets the criteria. Then they assign a mediator, and the mediator is supposed to try and resolve it before it goes further, if possible. This mediator doesn't seem like they're even trying. They're asking me questions at different points, like, why don't we just go right to... there's another hummingbird. Why don't we just go right to the investigation? It's like, well, because that's skipping over the step that is supposed to be potentially, like, able to resolve it. You know, a lot of mediations, lots and lots resolve the issue. That's the idea. Yeah. And this mediator's like, okay, we'll just skip that because it's inconvenient for this person to manage
the meeting.
Yeah, they have to do more work if for example, so before Zoom and stuff, before COVID, the mediator would actually go between. I've talked to people about this. You know, you're in one room, the applicant's in one room, the respondent's in the other room, the mediator goes back and forth between the two rooms. So you could do the same thing with Zoom. Oh no, that would be too much work or something. They want me to sit and talk to the people who have caused me the grief. When those people have a lawyer.
We're going to have a mediation with your rapist, and we're going to put you on face-to-face with him while we mediate this.
Yeah, that's not exactly, but it's kind of a good example. Like, something happened in the lunchroom that made you really uncomfortable. Now we want you to face that person again to discuss how that wasn't right.
And be coherent.
And
you have no lawyer, but there'll be three of us and one of you.
Yeah. And they have a lawyer, so why wouldn't they just let their lawyer speak for them? All right, that's it. That's all. Thanks for joining us on the COVID Chronicles. Sorry for being such a downer. Can't put a name in front of that. That would be nasty if I was to say a name downer.
Karen. You can only
Bye. Bye.